Okay, we'll go ahead and bring the Board of Works meeting to order. Were you guys given a chance to read the minutes from the previous meeting?
Yes, I'll make a motion that we pass the minutes from the previous meeting.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, we have Tyler on the phone here. He's at home, so. And luckily the state emergency order allows us to keep doing this with meetings, so. First matter of business, Lenny. We're going to asking for approval of a new hire. Not sure if that microphone's on yet. Is it on? I'm not sure.
I think you hold that red button down
Yeah,
for a couple minutes, or seconds, I mean. There, I think that it's lit up now.
Okay. Okay.
I'm asking for Board of Works approval to hire a 19th officer. I'm recommending Gabe Waller. If you look at the sheet I gave to you, that is this little bit of a background. He's one of our reserves, been on for almost a year. Completed the pre-basic training, had good background checks, and a very well-rounded young man. So I would like this for him to move forward, go through the perk and physical testing, just get approval to hire him as a 19th officer.
I think Tyler, you and Craig were both there when we did the interview process, and that last time, and we realized that there was a few good officers there that we couldn't hire all of them. And I think Gabe was one of the young men that was there that day, and he did a really good job at the interview. And he's also works at the jail currently, right?
Correct. He was in the interview process for the last deputy hire. I think he came in second place.
Okay.
So I talked to the sheriff. He did real good for them too. So the other guy had a little bit more experience, I guess. So.
Any questions from Tyler or Craig?
No, I'd make a motion that we allow our chief to hire Gabe Swaller as an officer for Decatur Police Department.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay.
They're still going through the background checks for the 20th. We have 2 remaining candidates, and I'll get with you guys on an interview for that one. But had an officer that had COVID, they didn't do home visits and polygraph testing. They're actually going to start that tomorrow, so
Okay.
I'll keep you posted.
Okay. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Lenny.
Thanks, Lenny.
S-W-A-L-L-E-R.
It's
S-C-H.
Oh, my bad.
S-C-H.
S-C-H. Here you go, Barb. You can give her that.
Okay, Kurt. Kurt's got a couple things I think he wants to discuss.
You want to do first? Public hearings or?
You can do that first if you want to, yeah.
Do we need a motion?
It's,
Is it public
Is it
hearing, you
abatement?
said?
abatement. How many is there? Two.
We didn't did we advertise this as a public hearing?
Yeah, I don't think we
It
did.
would be up to Kurt to do that.
It's not an advertised public hearing, it's just that we call them before the board, so
Okay.
you know.
So we don't have to leave the meeting and go.
I'm sorry, Tim, I just
No,
didn't know.
Yep.
Alright, first up, 804 Schermeyer Street, Gary Meyer, William and Kylie Harvey. Okay, on 11/13, received a complaint, trash and debris with weeds and brush. On the 17th, a notice to debate was delivered by Decatur PD. On 11/23, code enforcement checked property. It appeared that some stuff had been cleaned up a little, but there was still room for some improvement. On 11/30, a notice was mailed, regular and certified mail, thanking the tenants for the work that had been done and giving them an additional 5 days to clean up. About that time is when COVID hit our office and Aaron was out, and we were kind of dispersed from the office. So we didn't get back to it until 12/22. The property was checked again, and there was no progress made. So on 12/23, we sent a notice to appear before the Board of Works. That's where we're at.
Okay. And your name is?
Kylie Harvey.
Okay.
Kylie Hardy, H-A-R-D.
Harvey.
H-A-R-D-Y.
Okay. So you received the last notice?
Yes.
Okay.
But actually, we've received all the notices,
Okay.
and we've been working on it. It's a struggle. My husband is disabled. I work for the cell phone company, for Cricket Wireless. I've been working open to close every day. I work on it when I get a chance, but COVID's hit us hard. I've been working clear to Columbus, Ohio some days. So it's dark when I leave, it's dark when I come home. I'm trying, my husband is disabled, so I pretty much do it on my own. So that's kind of where we're at. I've been working at it a little bit as I get a chance, and like tomorrow I have the day off. We are getting some of it done tomorrow, but it's my only day off for at least the next 14 days. So that's kind of where we're at in the situation.
Okay. What are the major concerns that are left after you said there was some progress for a while?
Yeah, there was some progress. Some stuff's been picked up. If you look at the pictures, you can see some car tires there, some weeds. I know there's a couple outbuildings out back. I talked with you about a year ago, and we had moved some stuff back into that shed.
Right, and the one that doesn't have the windows and stuff, we're trying to find somebody to come in and tear it down because I cannot tear it down. Like I said, my husband can't either, so I am trying to see if his stepdad can get us the thing to tear the one down that doesn't have any windows or whatever. So.
Basically, what you see in the pictures, we need to do something with it. It's a little bit cluttered. There's some trash and debris still.
So those pictures are from when?
I'm assuming they're recent. Would have been when we sent the order out. I mean, I'm willing to work with it. I need you to stay in contact with us. If you get these orders, you need to call in and talk to us. We can avoid this whole thing if you stay in contact with us. If we don't hear from you, then we end up here.
All right. So if you can, like you said, tomorrow, if you can get some things done, then contact him and just let him know what you're doing.
Okay.
Maybe even like a weekly call to say this is what we did this week, and we can look at it again in a month or so and see.
Actually, you can call in and talk to Erin.
Erin?
She'll end up answering the phone anyway, and she'll work with it.
Okay.
And we'll just keep on it until we get it knocked out.
All we're trying to do is create improvement.
Nope, I completely understand, and I wish I could just do it all in one and be done with it, but
When do you think you can call in next?
I'm trying to get it to where I'm off every Wednesday, so Wednesdays will be the best for me.
Okay.
Like I said, right now they have me in Columbus, Detroit, Flint, here, Boston, so I never know where I'm
Are you home
at.
tomorrow?
I'm off tomorrow.
Okay, are you gonna do anything tomorrow?
Yes, we're working
Okay.
on it tomorrow. We're
Do me a
working
favor,
on
call in here about 3:30 tomorrow.
Okay.
Talk to Erin, just to let her know what you've got.
Okay, I can do
Okay,
that.
and then we'll just keep this progress rolling.
Okay, yep, I can definitely do that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, thanks.
Have a great night.
You too.
It was hard.
Oh. So you had another one?
Yeah, I got one more.
Oh, we don't have, well, I don't think we have anybody here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Tyler, you still there?
Yep.
This is the next one.
What was the address here?
This one is 1004 Schermeyer. Bald Guy Note Investment Group 1, LLC. Tenant is Beverly Reed. I don't think we have anybody here. Pictures. You got the other one? Alright, on 11/13, we received a complaint for weeds and brush on the property. On 11/17, a notice was delivered to the tenant by Decatur PD. 11/23, code enforcement checked the property, and it appears it was mowed, but not trimmed. 11/30, notice was mailed out again, thanking the owner for the work they had done, but there was definitely room for improvement. We gave them another 5 days to clean up. Once again, this was a time COVID had hit our office, so we didn't get back to it until 12/22. Property was checked again, and there was no progress made. On 12/23, we sent a notice to appear in front of Board of Works. And nobody's here.
Have you had any responses? I guess that they did something, so they just mowed is what they basically
They
did.
just mowed, that's all they did. We've been down there quite a few times over the year. We just started tracking these with these timelines.
This one looked more like it was weeds and stuff that needs trimmed and cleaned up, not...
Earlier in the year, we had to get after them. They had grass about 2 foot tall. We just have to keep going after them time and time again.
What is the standard for when it's just weeds and stuff like that? I mean, I know sometimes the city mows, and then bills them for it.
Right.
Bill it, and I think you can also put a lien on the property.
Right. These people were living there, so if we send somebody down, it may not be a bad idea to send a law enforcement officer down. If we go in.
Right.
Otherwise, if we don't go in, I'm at the end of my rope. If we turn it over legal, send a letter.
When you are sending out the notices, Kurt, are you sending it to the property owner or to the occupant, or both?
Both.
Okay.
Both. So we sent to Bald Guy Note Investment Group 1 LLC and Beverly Region, who's the occupant. So the owner is actually out of state.
So, would the next step be to have Tim write a letter and let him know that we're going to mow it, or we're going to come in and trim it? And
That's what I would suggest. Have Tim send a letter, say, look, you got X amount of days, and then copy us on that letter, and then we will check up on it at the end of that time. And if not, then we probably bring Jeremy through it.
Is that how we should proceed, Tim?
Mm-hmm.
Let them know that we're gonna mow and what the price is gonna be, or I guess
Mhm.
trim, it'd be more trim, and it looks like we're on a fence and the
Yeah.
We gotta put a timeline on that.
You tell me. I mean, normally you give them at least 10 days, and if you're sending it by mail,
so give them a month to,
I give it 10 days. It's in town, they'll get to the letter within 2 days. It still gives them 8 days to do something.
the owner of the property is in town?
The owner of the property is in that file.
Right, but is that a...
they're not local.
They're not local.
They're not local, no.
Right.
So he'll have it in a few days.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you're going to try to lien the property, you got to give adequate notice. And I think the statute says at least 10 days, so
Right.
realistically, I would say that if you send it out, you can either send a certified mail return or receipt requested so you can verify it, or you give...
Are you gonna send it out, or are you gonna
No,
send
no.
us the later, and we'll send it out?
It's up to you.
Doesn't matter, she can, Aaron can send it.
What I'm saying is, if you're going to send it, if it's not a state party, then I would give more than 10 days, because you're not going to get notice to them within 10 days.
Okay, so 30 days?
I would say if you do 2 weeks,
Okay,
you know,
14 days.
14 days, that should get there.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so then the last 2 items I have actually today kind of merged together. Craig Weil and myself went through a PowerPoint presentation with ProChamps. ProChamps specializes in vacant and foreclosed properties. Basically, they work with certain municipalities, and I have a list here of municipalities in Indiana they're working with. The first one's Fort Wayne, Logansport, Clarksville, Jeffersonville, Yorktown, Shirley, Hammond City, Maryville, Michigan City, Trail Creek, Elwood, Charleston, Rushville, and South Bend. Basically what ProChamps does is they keep track of all the vacant properties or foreclosed properties. And they work directly most of the time with the banks on the foreclosed properties. They work with the municipalities on the registration program. They keep track of all properties in the city limits, whether they're in a foreclosure or vacant or not. And basically they look for trends. If they start seeing liens put on properties, or if they start seeing people are falling behind on the water bill, electric bill, gas bill, these start leading towards trends of foreclosure. And once it gets to a certain point, then they alert the local municipality that, hey, these houses are going to be, going into foreclosure here before long. They will notify the mortgage holders and say, the city or the municipality has adopted an ordinance, it's a registration program for all vacant properties or foreclosure properties, and you have to register, and there's a registry fee. ProChamp takes part of that fee for their side, and then the rest of the fee, whatever we make it to be, comes to the city. And then they have to pay that fee every 6 months until they get somebody in that property or until they do something with that property to keep it from getting blighted, dilapidated, so forth. It's free of charge to us, no software. I don't know, Craig, you were in that meeting. What did you think?
Well, it's basically like, it gives you a warning, an indication that if property's getting ready to be foreclosed or vacant, basically it creates a path that we see a pattern on, that if they're going to foreclose, it's going to send a letter to the financial institution that either has a mortgage on it, or it's going to send it to the person that, whoever it is, that is about ready to go through foreclosure. They charge a $100 fee. The average is between $200 and $500 per 6 months for the registration of this. I believe, after listening to the pitch or the program or the PowerPoint presentation from ProChamps, it would take a lot of legwork away from our department. Just listening to it, I think it'd probably be a good idea to at least listen and pass that out to Board of Works and probably Council also. I think it would be a good idea. He got references today. They were going to send us a sample ordinance on what they would require the city to pass. I think that would be good for review. We talk about the fee structure if we're going to apply it, if we choose to do that. And I think it's a good idea to at least listen to the program.
So is that something they'll come to present to council?
If I had talked to the gentleman I spoke with, was Tim Cox, he's out in Kansas,
Uh-huh.
and I asked him if that would be a possibility, and he said yes.
I mean, could he do it through?
Yeah, I have the PowerPoint presentation. I also have the sample ordinance, and I have this list of the communities that I'm working with that I would like to email to all council members, Tim, yourself.
Okay.
So,
It would be my recommendation, at least to take a look at it.
Mm-hmm.
It'll prepare us for the future. We asked them about it, if there was any statutory laws that Indiana had in place that this would be in conflict with, and they looked it over. At least they looked it over and said that they didn't think there was any conflict.
Are they working with any communities within Indiana?
yeah,
Yeah.
Fort
Well, all those
ones he named was.
Okay.
were inside of Indiana.
Clarksville, South Bend, Charleston, I mean, there's a whole list.
Have you
if
talked to
they're
any of
still
them?
working with Fort Wayne, then what they're doing isn't going to run a fly of
Statutory.
statutes.
All right.
Well, that was my biggest concern, Tim, to be honest with you. And the other part, too, is it's going to be a drain on the financial institutions, mainly, especially with foreclosure. And if they're aware of it or we're aware of it, and then they're going to pay the penalty if that's the case, and that's where their commission. I asked if there were any other fees, and they basically said it's a registration fee of the property.
The only other fee would be is if we rewrite the ordinance, and they said they would mold the ordinance however we needed it. But if we included in that ordinance that they actually go after for fines, like if they don't pay the registration fee, there could be a fine established. They would actually go after them for the fines, and they would just get a certain percentage of that fine. They said that was an option. We didn't have to do that. It was just an option. That would be the only other fees involved. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because in our department we've really stepped up code enforcement. And it's a learning process, and I swear every week we learn something new. Well, we discovered when we're sending these abatement orders out, even if it's for weeds and vegetation, we need to start getting more people who are involved with property, like mortgage holders, lien holders. We need to be sending these abatement orders to them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't, and it comes all the way up to here, where we're Board of Works, or it goes, actually would go to court for fines, and we're trying to get those fines, mortgage holder shows up, says, well, I have interest in that property, you never notified us.
Mm-hmm.
So Aaron and I were actually looking at docspop.com, because you can get online and use their searches and find properties around town that have mortgages and lien holders. That we're kind of using that as a way to reach out to these people. Well, in this meeting today, we found out we can use ProChamps for the same thing. PopDocs.com will charge us depending on our subscription. still don't think it's a bad idea to have them in our back pocket, even if we do pursue pro champs. We can use them a lot of different ways. But what we found out with popdocs.com is we're probably going to have 2 to 3 searches per address, just trying to find stuff. So, you know, depending on what we sign up for prescription-wise, you know, depending on how many we get per year, they did tell us that we get a 50% discount from what they normally charge because we're a government agency. And if at any time we think we're not using it enough or if we're using too much, we can adjust it for a month. So I'd still like to get approval to pursue popdocs.com, but then also I'd like to send out Pro Champs information to all council members for their review and possibly talk about it at the next council meeting.
Positive thing that I noticed, and I'm sure Wiley would concur, was that this Pro Champs will take care of a lot of that investigative information, give us an opportunity without having to have a subscription to,
Right.
what'd you call it?
Popdocs.com for Docs Pop.
Docs Pops.
So I would suggest that we at least take a look at this Pro Champs when you get the information in and kind of give us a little indication of what they would do.
Good.
What's that, Tyler? Hey, Tyler, I think you're back feeding.
Oh, all right.
Did you say something?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, so I guess we need a motion, but you're asking for approval to sign up for Docs Pops, right? And then send out everything to the council about Pro Champs.
Correct. The Docs Pop, Aaron broke it down. You know, we could do 60 searches we could do the 60 search plan, which would be about, it's $27 a month.
That's 60 searches a month?
That's 60 searches a month. But you gotta remember, you know, each time we pull it up, that's one search, and then it goes to another document in there, that's another search. So, I mean, we could use, and the guy even told us, he said, you know, up front, you might have 4 or 5 searches at first per address. But he says, once you get good at it, he says you'll be down to 2 or 3 searches for what you need. So, you know, that was a total of $324 a month. Or we could do the 200 search plan, which would be $48 a month.
Wait, what was 230? Or
Must have been a year.
That's a year.
a year?
For a
you
year, I'm sorry.
Okay.
A year. The 200 search plan would be $48 a month at $576 a year, which if we did that, I'd take it out of my 439 account for office services and charges. We can pay it monthly, we can pay it annually, biannually, quarterly, however you want to do it.
Okay.
I support Kurt with getting that approval. However, with Pro Champs, most likely they won't need that.
Yeah, if we go through Pro Champs, I mean, this isn't something, the Docs Pop isn't something I need to start tomorrow.
Right.
I mean, push come to shove, I could go to the recorder's office and, you know, I just
Look.
don't want to have to send Aaron to the recorder's office every time, especially if we come back with 10 code enforcement abatements.
Right.
She's going to spend most of her day over there. It'd be nice to have that at my fingertips, but if things work out with Pro Champs and they're giving me the information I need, I don't, you know, we won't go that route.
But I
just
see
wanna get
Kurt
approval.
being proactive here.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Okay,
it's
so-
in my back pocket.
So is there a contract with Docs Pops, or can we sign up and then cancel if we decide to go the Pro Champs way?
I think it's a monthly
I
subscription.
think it's a monthly subscription. We have the option to pay quarterly, we have the option to pay monthly, we can pay biannually, or we can pay annually. Of course, if you pay annually, then you're going to get a full year.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get any money back. you just let the subscription run out. If you pay monthly, in a month you're done.
I'd like to make a recommendation that, why don't you go ahead and get the information? I know we had the meeting and the PowerPoint presentation today for Pro Champs. Why don't you send that information out? If you don't mind, put a little bit of advisory notes on the sideline that says, between you and Aaron and your department, that says positives and negatives, and give us some influence on that as a Board of Works and Council. Let's table this till next meeting, which would be in 2 weeks. And if you do need the documentary check, whatever it's called, the doc check, do it for 1 month if you need that immediately. But why don't we just take a look at that and then come back and make a good decision on an advance or whatever you think about this Pro Champs? Because it looked to me as if they register, it's $100 and they take care of all the homework for every citizen in the city of the community,
It's not, it's no money out of our...
or every property owner in the city of community.
Yeah, there's no charge to us whatsoever.
And then if you would, when you get that, what's it called, the,
Dog spot.
well, the
Sample
ordinance,
sample
the
ordinance.
sample ordinance, if you would make recommendations to that, to council and Board of Works, and share it with us so we can come up with a decision hopefully before 2 weeks from now, if that's the route you choose to
I
go.
actually have all that in an email right now.
Okay. If you'd forward that to us, I'd make a motion that we table that, if you don't mind, until the next Board of Works and
But
council
allowing him to, if he needs to access,
yeah. What's it called?
Docs pop.
Docs
Thank
pop
you.
or whatever. Yeah, if you need it, to get it.
So is that
On a
something
one-time
else invoice
deal,
you
but
every month?
And I mean, in the interim short term, if you do need searches, I mean, we have docs pops at our office, so we could do
so
that.
you're familiar with
Oh,
that?
yeah. Our title company uses it every day
Okay.
repeatedly. So it's a very useful system. You know, and that's something that we can talk about after the meeting, is, you know, if there's a need to do that on a short-term basis and something that, and maybe even a longer term, it's possible that we could do that and maybe at a cheaper cost or something like that.
is that okay with you, Kurt? Do you agree with that? So that's a motion?
So I got a motion, Tyler, from Craig.
I'll second it.
Okay. So I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign.
Thank you, Tim.
Okay. All right, thanks. Kurt, that was everything? Okay, certificate of appointment, a matter of record for Luke Rumschlag to promoted to sergeant. Do you have that? Or, oh, that's it. Okay, need to make this a matter of record, the promotion of Officer Luke Rumschlag to Sergeant Luke Rumschlag to the police department.
I'll make that a record.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
That was a nice picture in the Decatur Democrat of that today.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I think Luke will do a fine job. Jeremy. There he is hiding back. How's Jeremy hiding? As tall as he is, I couldn't see him back there.
He's so tall.
I know. Jeremy's got a few things, I think.
Got a couple more added on if we have time also.
Okay, I think we're going to open quotes for Phase 2 of East Monroe Street Sidewalk Project.
We had the last meeting, you guys had accepted the quote to do the first so many feet from Pickway Road back to the access building. And then also at the same time, we talked about a couple meetings ago about working on getting some of the quotes and stuff out for the projects that we have coming up here in 21. So what I did is I went ahead and quoted the rest of the project from the end of the east driveway approach at the access building all the way down to Oak Street. Being that my favorite concrete guy here's going into retirement, I could only get two
I'm not seeing a quote from him.
quotes.
Really?
So, we received two quotes, one from TG Concrete.
Double it, so said.
And what this does is it replaces the section, basically that whole stretch there from, or wood with this contract and the one that you guys did the last meeting, would get it all the way from Bigway to Oak Street. From basically the section in there by the football field and probably almost up to Oak Street would be about 8 foot wide. The rest of it down at the other end is only about 3 to 3.5 foot at this point. We're pretty well set with the room that we had, so that would only be the 5 feet through there. But we'll be taking out a lot of those driveway approaches and stuff that are no longer needed. And also replacing about, it was about 60 feet roughly of road curb that's either broken or sunk. That creates water holes along the street to make the sidewalk match up.
I've already had some residents from out that way call, and we're very excited to hear that something was going to happen out there.
Okay, so there were 2 quotes submitted. One is from Lighter Concrete. How do you want, you just want the total down here, Jeremy?
Total, Jim.
Okay, so the total submitted by Lighter Concrete is $135,500. 135,500. The second quote is submitted by TG Concrete. The total quote is $129,920. 129,920.
129,920.
Yes.
And it may be something that you take under advisement to look
I
at.
would take that and run before she This budget wasn't what I was anticipating.
Okay.
Did you want to look at this and
I'd let you take a look at it first.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'd like to make a motion that we let Jeremy take that those quotes under advisement since we just opened them up, and then he can come back for a recommendation later in the Board of Works meeting, or council, I don't care.
is that okay, Jeremy?
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, you're going to have to approve it in Board of Works, so.
Right, all right. Is that okay with you, Tyler?
Do we have that project budgeted for this year? Or is that
Yes,
just-
we do. We have it budgeted and see it.
Yes. Yes, Tyler.
I think there was, you cut that in half, so that was what, 175, I think is what you had set aside for that stretch.
Yeah, and what was the quote on the other part from Pickway to access?
20.
Oh, so,
20, but that's paid out of the sidewalk program.
okay, so we're within the budget on that.
Well,
We're well within on the whole thing. Now, we did not do anything at this point up towards expert transmission.
Right.
We can look at that.
Is that
What- It's not too bad, really. I'm more concerned about the stretch from Oregon on out, but
I thought when they did the highway,
they did some, yeah, but there is from home to where that stopped. But we'll look at that a little closer a little bit later on, make sure we're not way over budget.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a motion from Craig to let Jeremy take him under advisement and come back with a,
Decision?
what his decision would be. Is that, got a motion from Craig, Tyler?
I'll second, and I guess it could come back to the meeting, you wouldn't have to decide it now, would it, or?
What was that?
I'll second Craig's motion.
Okay. I got a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Now we got, light poles for Phase 3 of 2nd Street project.
Okay, what we're also working on is several different projects, but the next meeting, we should be seeing what the next phase of the 2nd Street project would cost, which would be Phase 3. And what I'm doing with this is I talked to Phyllis. the market is so unstable right now with a lot of these materials. And so I'm getting out early, getting out in front just to see what kind of pricing we can get set on some of this stuff. And I talked with street lighting people, the same decorative pole that we've bought in the past. Right now it's about $800 higher than what we paid before. And on February I believe the 5th or the 8th, I believe it is, they're going to see another substantial increase for that. So currently, to light that last section, and this is kind of a multi-purpose explanation, is one, to make you aware of it, and two, if you want to jump in before the price increase really goes up. We do have that option until January the 27th to purchase these at this cost. John Underwood from ESL strongly encouraged us to take advantage of it, as he said that market is so unstable right now, and Sternberg is telling him to get his orders lined up because they look for the aluminum price to really go sky high here in February, and that's what's causing this increase. So, make a long story short here, if you would like to pursue with the 6 light poles for Phase 3, which will take you up to the State Farm Insurance Office, you would need to authorize $29,640.
I mean, we're already committed.
I want to
Really?
clear through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just looking out for the pricing at this
Oh,
point.
yeah, I appreciate that. No,
You've already bought the ones from Madison to Jefferson.
I mean,
Now you're going to Jefferson.
What price
we
did you
can't
say?
change to a different river.
29,640.
Wait a minute, what'd you say? We've gone from what?
He's already bought the lights from Madison to Jefferson.
We need to,
They're
Yes.
here. It's not done.
Okay,
We just-
so you need 6 more lights. Will that take us to the roundabout?
No, that would get us within the construction limits, or just right outside the construction limits. And
Of the
we'll
roundabout?
buy those additional poles at construction during the roundabout.
but that would be part of the state,
We would have to pay 100% on that,
would we? Okay.
because that's decorative.
Do you think it'd be wise to go ahead and
Go all
get
the way.
another, I know they're $5,000 a light post. How many more do we
I
need?
don't know that we're gonna have the funding
Okay.
Oh,
to do all that and still get the sidewalk and the brick and the trees and the tree grates and
okay.
the benches and everything.
For the roundabout.
So that'd be over,
Okay.
To finish what we're doing now instead of jumping.
it'd be over committing.
So you're saying it'd be smart to just kind of hold off on that?
I would hold off on the roundabout section, the alley to the roundabout.
And we don't know, at that point, maybe
Aluminum
prices
comes
would
down?
drop, too.
We don't know.
Yeah,
We don't know.
and we don't know what the design is at
It's
this
a,
point.
it's a gamble. So,
Correct.
yeah.
So, biggest thing is I want to make you aware of it. If you want to jump on, like I said, it's went up $800 since summer.
Yeah, I read your email and I read the quote. Tyler, did you get a chance to read that?
Yeah, I looked over it. I think we'd be good to go ahead and get the light poles. Even if we just get through this year, we just do phase 2, we still have the light poles. I mean, we've set on the light poles for a year already. So,
You got a place to store them now. All right, I'll make a motion that we let Jeremy Gilbert at his time before the 27th of what, January? Make an opportunity to purchase those light poles.
And I will qualify that, if I may, in 2 respects. One is that the reason that you're going forward without getting quotes on this is because of the urgency to avoid a price increase, and secondly, to maintain the aesthetics of uniformity of light poles and buying it from a specific dealer because it's not available elsewhere.
Correct.
Yes, and that's what we've done the past 2 times.
Right.
Yep.
I'll second Craig's motion.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Okay. And then The last thing is, Jeremy, you want to talk about that property?
Yeah, actually, I got
Oh, yes, no.
that community crossings thing too, if we have just a few minutes afterwards.
Okay.
Hey, Don, you want to come up a little closer so you can possibly weigh in on this?
I think Jeremy wants to talk a little bit about the property, the Hyman property. A plan to start moving to, to help the situation out for Homestead.
Okay, late last summer, early fall, we had talked in the Board Works meeting about looking at the drainage for the Homestead addition. I had asked at that point if for permission to have Brett Miller and his people just do basically a drainage survey of the whole addition. They've been working on that here and there, and they've come up with some preliminary calculations that the Drainage Board and the Surveyor's Department's having a little trouble with. And we're talking with Paul Nord today. I understand where their questioning is coming from. Basically, what that south end does is it drains into Morum Run. Goes under High Street, goes across Porter's property, and drains into the Morum Run ditch there at KFC. Morum Run is challenged at times to start with, so Paul doesn't feel real comfortable with the 36-inch pipe that Miller is recommending that they use for an outlet. But there's some question that I have with Miller, because we have another outlet halfway through that addition. Don's done some cammering in some of the sewers out there, and then also with our potential pond, or detention pond, if you will, on the Hyman property. All three of those need to come into this equation in properly sizing this outlet to satisfy the Drainage Board. I know Paul Nord kind of jumped ahead today with the Drainage Board and talked with the Drainage Board about this, and we're still way early into the whole engineering and the whole equation, so we don't really have enough information to really put out there right now on sizing and such. But what I'm asking for is it still our intention to purchase the Hyman?
It's under contract.
The four parcels from the
We'll
Hymans?
probably be closing within the next couple of weeks.
Okay. And is it still our intention to possibly put a detention pond on that property?
I think that was
Yeah,
one of the reasons.
I think that's a key to the area.
Okay. That's the second question that I needed answered. So what we need to do is we need to have Miller look at that north end also to satisfy the Drainage Board and the Surveyor's Department and taking into consideration all three outlets.
You could have a reduced outlet to meter it out.
What they're proposing now, talking with Paul and talking with the guy from Fort Wayne, is some of what they're proposing just can't happen. And I won't go in detail as to what all that is, but it just can't happen. So they need to step back and look at it. But we also need to take into consideration that what that pond would store, what they're looking at for inlet outlet of that pond, and what that whole addition and that north end of that property is going to look like.
You said that there was another outlet as well?
There is.
So can you calculate how much of the volume of water would go that direction?
Yes, and I don't think they're using that into the calculation at this point. I haven't called into Brett Miller, and he was busy all afternoon, but we're going to talk again in the morning. Brett's not technically working on this project. It's his engineers in Fort Wayne. So I need to bring him up to speed a little bit also of what we're running into. I know we talked right before Christmas, and he was going to get back with me. But this is becoming a little bit more of a popular topic with the county. So I want to make sure that we stay ahead of it. So are you guys all right with having me go ahead and have them do the calculations and stuff and include that property as basically a retention pond or detention pond, I should say.
Yep, I think so. Tyler, you good?
Yep.
So do we need a motion to allow him to push forward with Brett, or
It's just basically professional services at this point, and just figuring out what's feasible
Right.
and what's going to be.
Yeah, I think if that's going to move things along, and especially if Paul's raising issues with the drainage board that may or may not be accurate information, we want to make sure that we provide accurate information and detailed information.
Talk to you about that because I ain't talked to him until about 5 o'clock.
so basically all the flow won't be going to Borum Run, which would make it a little easier on the drainage zone.
It's not now.
Right.
Is there a cost involved with Miller?
There would be some, but I would think it would be fairly minimal.
Then I'd make a motion to carry on with Miller to give you some surveying and
They just need to tighten up this engineering.
the engineering on the, assistance on the engineering for professional services towards the drainage of Homestead Edition. To give them updated information on the use of the land and the different outlets that are going to be at Homestead.
Tyler, did you hear that motion?
Yeah.
Okay. Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Alright.
Opposed, same sign. Okay.
Okay, one more thing. We have about 5 minutes.
Yep.
Less, probably less. You probably got the email today from the governor's office. Governor Holcomb and Joe McGinnis sent out the announcement today for 2021-1, the call for community crossings. We just basically in the last month probably have completed our last project other than pavement markings. We would qualify to apply again. We set out the last round due to that you guys had approved applying for, partially because we wasn't done with what we were working on. And then also you're set at only being a recipient of $1 million per year. And we were at 800 and some thousand. I didn't figure with paving engineering and what little bit that we would get was worthwhile applying in November, December, when I knew that there was another call coming in January. It also gives us a little time to breathe and get caught up on some things that we need to get caught up on. This call is up till the end of, I think, the 25th or 26th of January. I like the program. I was a little reluctant in the very beginning, a little unsure about it until it ran its path a few times, it ran its course. I think it's a real positive program for us, especially now since our census has not been updated yet, because I really think our census, when it gets updated, we're going to go 50-50 instead of 75-25.
Once you go over 10,000, 50-50.
It'll put us just a little over. So if, I guess, my question for you tonight is, what's your pleasure? Do we want to hit it pretty hard again the next time? Do we want to go mediocre? Funds are a little tight, but we can make it work. The money has been budgeted.
I was going to say,
Let me ask you a question.
Next year's budget.
Let me ask you and Don a question. We've got, how many years are we into the sewer, stormwater deal with Kerry? How much more time we got on that agreed order?
We have to start engineering for phase 4 at the end of 2021.
All right, so we got about a year, right? Well, my question would be to Don, how far are you along with the camera work and pipe in the ground and sewer and storm?
I'm about 3/4 the way through Monroe Street section.
In your opinion, do we need to go apply? Because you know my feelings on this thing. I don't like to pave a road until we've got all the infrastructure underneath it ready.
We've got a lot of other streets outside the area that they're working on.
Yeah, I mean, you're just talking Marshall and Monroe Street, from Monroe Street north now. Jefferson, all that into town, that section's done.
Okay. So we 50%, 75% done with the work that we need to do to meet the agreed order?
You're gonna start seeing repairs happening real soon here on Monroe Street section. So it's about a third, and a third, so I'm just starting the repairs on Monroe Street section.
So
I still have Marshall to do.
Yeah, I think, Craig, just to point out something, the work that Don's doing is probably, it's absolutely necessary, but it's still not going to prevent us from having to do probably some retention in additional storage capacity. So it's just going to help reduce the size of what we have to do in the future in order to meet that agreed order. You know, probably 6-7 years ago we were talking about $2 or $3 million gallon tank that we were going to have to build, and I think what our goal is to try to significantly reduce that so that we don't have to build anything close to that, because I think it was $1 million, wasn't it? And I could be wrong about this, but it was at least $1 million per million gallons, wasn't it? Or it was even more than that.
Yeah, it's a high. But I think what Craig's asking too, what I'm doing is in alleys. And you got to remember the main line runs down Monroe Street, but everything else is in the alleys for the 90% of it.
Yeah.
Your water main's probably your bigger issue than your
sewer.
I think Craig is looking at, we don't want to pave streets that are going to be dug up.
Right.
That's my point.
Yeah.
The areas that Don's working in is already paved when the sewers were done up before, so they're not even,
So it's not an issue.
they're probably halfway on their life expectancy.
Okay.
So we would stay, obviously, trust me. So been down this road, sending an excavator right behind the paver.
Yeah.
We're going to stay out of those areas.
But
There's plenty of other areas.
Jeremy,
that need
the
to be-
streets you're talking about are already, sewers are fine. We just need to take care of the surface.
Now, with that community crossings, you can pave if it includes sidewalks and drainage also, right? But it has to be that street. I mean, you can't just go do sidewalks.
No. You can do some sidewalk, but they primarily keep it to the 88 ramps
Okay.
and the corners.
Okay.
They won't do standalone. And if you're talking about getting into sidewalks, especially a longer stretch, they're going to push you to the federal aid.
Okay.
Or that's a 5-year process. And it's far more money than.
But I guess what I'm like, so if you're paving a road, you can also do drainage in that road, right? You can pay for the drainage out of the.
Some of it, yeah. The materials and stuff.
So I guess I was picturing areas like, say, such as Homestead that's going to need some drainage. I mean, could you pave it and put some drainage in it?
The Homestead won't be ready for this round. Probably won't be ready because you only have 18 months once you're awarded to spend the money.
Okay.
I want to make sure that we do Homestead right.
Right.
And even if we have to go in and do a little patching to get it, to make it last long enough, but I think we're probably going to be a couple years yet on Homestead before you get a final product of the whole edition.
I get you get where I'm coming from.
Oh, yeah.
I think you understand what I'm asking. I hate to pave a road that we're going to have to tear into with a backhoe or an excavator to replace a main or because of something we missed or we didn't have an opportunity to get underground in the infrastructure. So in your opinion, gentlemen, should we hold off on the community crossing? I mean, we've done a pretty darn good job here in the last 3 or 4 years of receiving up to $1 million a year, and I think I'm commending you for what you've gotten done. But I know we've also been working on a ball diamond out, on the northwest side of town, and taking a lot of time and a lot of other projects. We got a 2nd Street project we're trying to roll down here towards the roundabout to get that on the timely field. Do you feel comfortable that we can get this work done?
We don't do the work with community crossings.
Okay.
community crossings is 100% contracted.
Right. Do you feel that what we're going to see?
We have enough streets in some newer parts of the city that does not need water main work, that does not need sewer work,
But
that we can really benefit, because due to the loss in revenue, and Phyllis can vouch for this, this budget cycle has been a little different than normal. We don't have much for paving this year, much money. So
This will be it.
we can either go at this pretty hard, spend a little bit that we have plus our match, or skate through and start falling back a little bit. Because we don't know if there will be a 21-2 or a 23-1.
Community crossings.
Or a 23-.
So you're saying you want to go for it? You want to?
I personally would, but that's your guys' decision.
Well,
And you budgeted our share of it.
Yes, we did.
So your recommendation would be go for it?
Yep.
Okay.
Are you going to get the most bang for your buck?
Well, that's what I wanted to do. I didn't know if you were concerned that you were covered up with work.
You're going to go to You're going to go to 500,000 instead of 250,000.
Yeah, I think there's two reasons.
I think this is the last chance we have to get 25%.
Yeah, you're gonna still have the better match before the new census figures come out.
Okay.
Secondly, with the shortfall in revenue that the state's recognizing, there may not be another community crossing grant for some time to come.
I guess that's the clarity I was looking for.
We're still using a number of 9,417 people.
Oh, so you're saying we're going to get 75% match if we go now?
Yep.
That makes it pretty obvious. Hey, Tyler, what do you think?
That's the number I'm still using for our population.
All right. And when would that money be awarded? In June?
No, that money would be awarded February, March.
So when's our deadline to get it done?
At the end of this month, 24th.
The application is by the end of the
I
month.
meant the paving.
You would have 18 months to
18
get it.
months.
Oh, okay, we have plenty of time.
Okay.
So you recommend that we go for it? Tyler, would you agree?
Yeah, I think it's going to be the best bang for our buck.
I do too.
I would make a motion to move forward with it. And use this company that we've used in the past to apply for it.
You'd have to set them out.
No,
No,
He's
he's
saying-
asking
He's
if
saying
you
the
want
engineering firm or whoever you...
Fairman and Cypher.
Yeah, we're using Butler Fairman again, but you guys, before you pass all your motions, you need to set them out if we're going for the whole thing or going with what works.
Yeah,
What do you recommend?
dollar
I
amount
would say let's go.
Okay.
All right.
And do you have it budgeted in our...
did we
We
do?
have it for the million.
Okay.
so basically this round 250,000 is going to get us $1 million. Next round 250,000 is going to get us 500,000.
500 grand.
So
I'll make a motion that we go for the full amount on the community crossing grant. Did you already do that, Tyler?
Tyler made the motion to go forward with seeking the grant. So
I'd
you
say
did
go
it.
for the full amount.
Yeah, so Tyler, you amended that motion to include going for the full $1 million, and
Yes.
that's your second.
Second.
okay, I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Is that all you had then?
That's
Thank
good.
Thank you. Oh, that's good? Okay.
Yeah, I would go ahead and accept Taylor Beach.
Do you want us to go Jeremy, Jeremy looked over all the concrete bids for the sidewalk on East Monroe Street, and he says, he's good with, going with TG Concrete.
Yeah, that money was all budgeted. I just wanted to double check on that.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was all
go
budgeted.
I'll make a motion to move forward with that.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Tyler?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? Okay.
What was that called? TG?
TG Concrete for, $129,920.
For sidewalks. Good. You
Anyone else
accomplished a
have anything
lot
for the Board of
tonight.
Works?
A lot of
Do
money.
you have anything?
A lot of money.
Do you have anything for the Board of Works?
Give you those before I forget.
Thank you.
No.
Okay. Accept the motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjourn Board of Works.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign?